Welcome to the Zinnov Podcast. You are listening to our Business Resilience series, where we bring to you conversations with eminent industry stalwarts and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their insights on overcoming challenges and the mindset that helps them navigate through journeys of crisis resilience and growth.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Zinnov Podcast. I am Nitika Goel, CMO of Zinnov, and your host for today. During this pandemic, the insurance industry has had to kick into high gear. They've had to adopt newer models to drive innovation and to do their part amidst this global crisis. With the entire healthcare ecosystem being at the front line during these trying times, the insurance industry has been playing a key role in helping the industry remain resilient. To understand more on the role of the insurance industry and its part in building business resilience, I have with me today KV Dipu, President Operations, Communities and Customer Experience at Bajaj Allianz. With more than 25 years of industry experience, Dipu specializes in business process reengineering and driving digital transformation, the need of the hour in today's scenario. Welcome to the Zinnov Podcast, Dipu.
Thank you so much, Nitika. It's an honor to be here, and I look forward to our conversation and hope to add great value to the audience.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it too. So one of the questions I wanted to pose is that COVID has impacted the insurance industry at large, as well as your organization. What are some of the customer as well as the business changes that have taken place?
So, Nitika, I'll break it into two parts. Firstly, you spoke about business changes, and then you also spoke about customer changes. If you look at it from a business perspective, since insurance caters to various different lines of business, we have seen a shift. For example, at the onset of the pandemic, when car sales was down, motor insurance became an allied product in the sense that only when cars are sold, do customers buy motor insurance. We did see an impact there. Similarly, right now, travel is down and out. So travel insurance, obviously has not got off the ground. At the same time, there has been a surge in interest in health insurance. There has been a surge in property insurance. And going forward, since everything is going to be digital, we do expect cyber insurance to be the new frontier. Coming to the arena of customers, Nitika, we've seen, quite a few changes. For starters, customers do expect insurers and, of course, our partners as well to offer them an array of digital services, because during the lockdown, services need to continue unhindered, and insurance is an essential service, especially health insurance. Secondly, we have also seen that while we have all moved from a work from office environment to a work from home environment, we are in the new normal. And while the new normal is a much used and a much abused term, what we need to recognize is that new customer needs will emerge, as we go into this phase. And therefore, it becomes important to keep a sharp eye out for that and ensure that we not only meet customers' stated needs, but we also meet customers' unstated needs. So these are the two ways, in which business needs and consumer needs are changing.
Great points. You talked about stated and unstated needs of the customer, right? I would like to understand, when you said we have to keep our eye on the ball, are you doing this through manual intervention, or are you leveraging technology as the baseline to help your organization in this battle against COVID?
So, Nitika, it has to be digital. And let me illustrate this, with a few examples. So when the pandemic initially, occupied everybody's minds, people were, very afraid of COVID-19. They've also read various reports that it can be asymptomatic. So they could be carriers, without realizing it. And people do want to get themselves tested. But ironically, in case you need to go to a hospital, in the quest to get tested, you could get infected. So what we realized is we need to come out with a way by which, customers can aware of this facility, but without, putting themselves at risk. So what we did was to come out with a COVID-19 self-assessment tool on a mobile app. And we came out with this tool in multiple languages, and customers just lapped it up. It became a great hit with them, because now they could get themselves tested in the comfort of their home without having to physically visit a hospital. Secondly, Nitika, when the lockdown was imposed, you can impose a lockdown on economic activity, but you cannot prevent somebody from falling ill or wanting to get back to his feet. So what we realized is we needed to come out with a digital way of ensuring that customers can continue to get unhindered access to medical care. So we came out with a doctor on chat and a doctor on video option on a mobile app. All customers had to do was to log into our app and get a digital consultation done. And then all they had to do, was to basically go and pick up medicines, because medical shops were always open. They were always exempt from the lockdown. The third thing we did, Nitika, was when we realized that this entire social currency of social distancing, when it picked up pace, we realized that people had become very wary of meeting people, and they also wanted to keep a log of whom they were meeting, because contact tracing became a paramount need. So what we did, and this was before the launch of Arogya Setu, we came out with a feature on our app, aptly called Social Trackback, by which customers could basically log in their contacts on the app, and then all they needed to do, in case anybody in their social circles got infected, was to go back and check their app and see if they had come in contact with any one of them in the last 48 hours or 96 hours. And likewise, in the unfortunate event of their getting infected, they knew whom to inform. So when you look at features like these, social trackback, doctor on chat, COVID-19 self-assessment tool, these are features which we gave to our customers on our app. And if you look at these features could have been launched by anybody across industries. The fact that I think we did it, was a message to our customers, that we truly care for them, in line with our motto of caringly yours. And I think our customers were extremely grateful to us, for the fact that, we went beyond their stated needs, and we actually, went about meeting their latent needs.
Very interesting points that you mentioned here. One of the things that you talked about, obviously, is in the early stages and the contact tracing, and when there was a fear of social distancing. With Unlock 3.0, as people have started understanding the disease a lot more, or their ability to deal with what lies ahead is a little bit clearer because of the quantum of information that is available now. Have these programs changed?
So, Nitika, if you look at the way Unlock 3 has come into existence, there are 2-3 factors at work. One, of course, is the fact that customers themselves have now come to terms with the new normal. They've accepted that COVID-19 is a way of life now, and therefore they're taking measured and calibrated steps in terms of stepping out. Secondly, what we have done from our end is to continuously educate customers on the do's and don'ts of the new normal, and we have continuously told customers about what are the precautions they need to take even as they go about their daily activities. Thirdly, Nitika, one thing which has come to the fore is, and that's where we have again been a little ahead of others, is the fact that today people have become very wary of touch. Nobody wants to press the key in the ATM. Nobody wants to press the button in the elevator. So what we have done, realizing that customer experience has to be touchless, we have actually embarked on 2-3 major initiatives on this front. On the one hand, when customers walk into our branches, since we cannot have handshakes, since we need to maintain social distancing, since we want to discourage paperwork, we have basically launched barcodes. Customers just need to scan these barcodes and their requirements get fulfilled. You scan a barcode and an insurance policy can be mailed to your official email ID which you registered with us. You scan a barcode and you can raise a request for a claim. Similarly, when Alexa and Google Assistant were launched in India, we were the first ones to integrate our AI-driven chatbot with these voice-based servicing tools. So what this means is that you can ask Alexa or Google Assistant for services from us, right? You could ask for a copy of your insurance policy. You could ask for the nearest hospital. You could ask for the nearest car workshop. You could ask for the process of raising a claim. And what we have seen is that voice-based traction has increasingly come into play. So these 3 points about customers, recalibrating their own expectations as far as the new normal is concerned, the fact that, we have basically entered the touchless arena, and the fact that we are focused on voice-based servicing. I think these are 3 areas by which, the interplay of our customer focus and, customers obviously, stepping out of, their cocoons, that entire interplay, is playing itself out. And we have seen great results from this.
Got it. Those are really great points. And you talked about 2 aspects, which is, you said touchless, and then you also talked about voice-based, and obviously technology being the underlying theme. We also have heard a lot about the automation component within the insurance sector as well as AI. So how is that coming into play as this crisis unfolds?
So Nitika, if you look at AI and automation, they obviously have had key roles to play across the entire customer life cycle. So what we did was basically not get into the trap of deploying technology for the sake of technology. We actually started by focusing on the customer. So we basically listen actively to the customer. Then what we do is take stock of our current inventory of our processes and systems. And then we re-engineer them using the principles of Lean Six Sigma so that they are reconfigured to meet customers' needs. And then we deploy the right technology stack. And let me explain this to you, with a couple of examples. Let's take travel insurance. Now, let's assume there is somebody from India who's flying to the US. It's obviously a long flight. And if the flight is delayed, then the customer is focused on one, catching his next available flight, and the other, making his arrangements all over again. That's not the time that the customer is, thinking of, filing a claim with his insurer, which is eligible for, from a trip delay perspective. And even if you were to call up your insurer, typically you would be asked for some paperwork, maybe a copy of your passport, copy of your boarding pass, and some form of communication from the airline through an email or through a letter that the flight is delayed. So we realized that the best way to help the customers is to basically make the entire process frictionless for our customers. So what we did was to deploy a blockchain-based solution by which we put ourselves in a situation whereby we got immutable proof that the flight was delayed. This meant that we no longer needed to ask the customers to get us any form of communication from the airline. Secondly, we made a fundamental difference to the entire insurance value chain. And that difference is that typically you need to intimate your insurance company that you're eligible for a claim, and then the insurance company will process that and make the payout to you. Whereas here, what we did was, since we know that the flight is delayed, we did away with this need. So now just imagine the delight on the customer's face, if he is told, as he's sitting in the airport and going through the entire rigmarole of planning his bookings all over again, that, this is the amount he is eligible for and that the amount has been transferred to his bank account. So these are ways by which we deploy technology to make customer experience a delight for our customers. Now, coming to artificial intelligence, Nitika, I'll again give you two examples. One is our chatbot. Now, today, all industries have chatbots, but where we differentiated ourselves was that our chatbot does not tell the customer, in case the bot is not able to answer the customer's query, that he needs to go back to the website or he needs to call up the call center. What we do is we ensure a seamless transfer at the back end from the bot to a human being. So which means it's assisted automation. So the customer doesn't perceive any break in service. And what we do, since the bot is basically trained to answer FAQs and the human being steps in when there are exceptional queries, over a period of time, using AI and NLP, we again convert these exceptional queries into FAQs, and the percentage of queries answered by the bot upfront is on the rise throughout. Secondly, let's take motor claims. What happens when somebody crashes a car? You basically call up the insurance company, they'll locate the nearest inspector, he'll come, inspect the car, make a report, send it to the insurance company, they'll assess the report, arrive at the amount, and then go through the entire process. We said, why don't we make this easy for the customer? Why don't we empower our customers? So what we did was we came out with a facility on our mobile app by which we told customers to take photographs of the car, and then these images would get uploaded on our mobile app. And once it reaches us, what we do, by deploying a combination of AI and expertise, within minutes we would assess the damage and the amount and communicate the amount to the customer. And once the customer gives his consent, we transfer the money to his bank account. This entire process takes about 20 to 30 minutes. So what used to take days now happens in a matter of minutes. So these two examples, whereby we deployed AI, from a chatbot perspective and also from a motor claim processing perspective. If we had not deployed these tools, we wouldn't have been able to reach these levels of customer experience.
I think these are really fantastic examples, and you have used the whole breadth of digital technologies. We as consultants often talk about them, but it is really heartening to see how you have used all these different types of technologies, be it IoT, AI, blockchain, all these fundamental technologies to make a difference to your customers. So I think there's one very important question that we need to just think about before we end this podcast. One thing is, This healthcare crisis really has morphed itself into a financial crisis as well. And for many insurance companies, there have been operational as well as balance sheet challenges and regulatory pressures even. So what are the three things that you think that the insurance sector needs to keep an eye on as we continue to progress and things start coming back to what we used to think of as the previous normal, as well as what are you doing from an organizational perspective and keeping high on your priority list?
It's a good question, Nitika. So if you look at the insurance industry, it basically operates on a term called combined ratio. Combined ratio is, essentially all the expenses that you have, right? So you basically talk about claims, and then you talk about, commissions that you pay to your distributors, because insurance is a push product. And then, of course, all your expenses. Now, one thing which people may not know is that the combined ratio of the general insurance industry in India is 120. So 120 means that the insurance industry spends 120 rupees for every 100 rupees that they earn. So which means, you're obviously paying claims, to the extent that you can possibly pay. Now, what insurance companies need to focus on, one, of course, from a claims process, you need to make it as smooth as possible, because that is the moment of truth in the insurance industry. Insurance is the original form of crowdsourcing. You collect from many and you pay to a few. So which is why the focus on that has obviously got to be very high. That's the whole reason why customers buy insurance. So the examples I gave you in terms of blockchain for travel insurance and AI for motor insurance, so I think these are examples, which can be lighthouses, for the industry, in terms of deploying technology to ramp up customer experience at scale. Now, coming to operational efficiencies, one thing which we have seen during the COVID-19 pandemic phase is digitization picked up pace. There are times when weeks happen in decades, and there are times when decades happen in weeks. I think this was, one such period, when the ramp up of digitization was so massive that you actually had, decades happen in weeks. So now what insurance companies need to do, is to ride on this digital wave, and then ensure that, we get digital at scale, given the huge market that we have, and the fact that, we have so many towns and cities across the whole of India, wherein we offer our products and services. So that will ensure that not only do costs come down, but we are able to ramp up customer experience as well. Two specific areas of focus, Nitika. One will be, of course, touchless UI UX, which I referred to, because not only will it ensure that you keep customers' safety intact, but it also ensures that you're able to digitize at scale. Secondly, and again, I'd like to give an example. One of our initiatives which won a global award was an app which we came out with exclusively in Indian languages for farmers, because they take crop insurance from us. And we know that people in rural India will be more conversant, with the languages that they use on a daily basis. So this app was launched in Hindi, Kannada, and Marathi. So for one, farmers can access this app in the language of their choice. And it's an insurance company app. So it starts off by giving them access to, all insurance services. Secondly, farmers interact a lot with the government. So through this app, they can also access the government's portal. So in a way, it becomes a one-stop shop. And then what typically happens in agriculture markets is that they're typically characterized by information asymmetry. You don't have large organized pools of information. So we gave them lots of notifications on the app. We gave them information about the weather, because agriculture depends heavily on weather and soil. We gave them information on pricing across various markets. We've seen huge fluctuations in prices, during this period. When there's a lockdown, prices go up. Again, there's an in-lock, prices come down. We also gave them crop advisory. We gave them crop diagnostics. And during the pandemic, when they couldn't step out, this just became a tool of great convenience for them. Sitting in their home, using an app in the language of their convenience, they're able to interact with the government, they're able to interact with the insurance company, and they're able to get all the information that they need. Downloads went up. Our app rating on the Play Store was 4.6 at one point. And then, as I told you, we won a global award. Now, what this highlights to us is that we shouldn't fall into that classic mistake of assuming that English has to be the language of choice when it comes to ramping up digitization. We need to understand that, we need to start offering services in multiple languages for us to expand our reach. Similarly, on our chatbot, it's christened Boeing. I told you about the way we leveraged AI to make it easy for our customers. One more thing which we did, apart from, as I told you, ensuring that there is no break in service for our customers, and also the fact that it's integrated with Google Assistant and Alexa, is that we also started offering our services in languages other than English. And that immediately, doubles our reach. In fact, there has been a study by IAMAI, and the report came out a few months back, which showed that the number of users of the internet in rural India has finally exceeded the number of users of the internet in urban India. So I think if we focus on touchless and if we focus on multilingual, it will definitely ramp up digitization for insurers. And to the point that I earlier made, focus on claims, make it easy, go digital at scale, operational efficiencies ramp up dramatically.
Great. Thank you so much, Dipu. I think there were a lot of insights. Just to summarize, I was going to summarize, but I think you summarized it beautifully. You talked about digital at scale, cost efficiency with customer experience at the core, touchless UI and UX, and going multilingual. So thank you so much. I think there is a lot that this sector has done for the end user at this point in time, and a lot that Bajaj Allianz itself has done. So thank you. It was a great conversation, and I look forward to connecting with you again. And thank you to our listeners for listening into this episode.
Thank you so much, Nitika. It was wonderful chatting with you. You asked all the right questions. And thanks to all our listeners, like you rightly said, for listening in patiently. And I look forward to having more conversations with you going forward.
Great. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Zinnov's Business Resilience series. Stay tuned for more such interesting episodes and subscribe to our podcast on Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. To know more about Zinnov, and if you believe we can help with your problems, please visit our website www.zinnov.com or drop us a note at info@zinnov.com. Thank you again, and don't forget to tune in to our next episode.